All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first ever episode of Insomnia. Welcome, all you Insomniacs, for everybody in the late end of the world, on the other side of the pond, and everybody in the United States where it's only 4:30. Your hosts are to the O to the X to the Y, and this is my distinguished and dapperly handsome co-host riding shotgun today, Clancy. Clancy, how
Hello.
are you, my darling?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good. I'm all right, baby. All right, today's topic I wanted to go over with you is kind of going to be collectivism versus individualism.
Yeah.
Tell me some of your thoughts on that. How do you feel about that? What's your personal philosophy?
Well, I would consider myself somewhat a libertarian. Therefore, I identify more with the individual than the collective. So yeah, I believe that everyone should want to be individual, feel sort of some kind of responsibility to themselves to be an individual, and sort of pushing sort of a collective ideology onto people. I think can be quite harmful, to be honest, quite dangerous. Yourself?
I find that individuality is one of the greatest, and as well as it can be harmful sometimes for one to two reasons. Because you're so strongly an individual that you become disjointed from your community.
Yeah.
Okay? You can be totally out of touch with what's going on because you are so independent as an individual. I think the way I like to think of the United States, for example, is we are all individuals, but collectively we band together as Americans. You see what I'm saying?
So the broader,
you can be who you want to be. Do you, baby, all day long. Do you, boo boo? But at the end of the day, you are an American. You know, and the things that hurt America should invoke the reaction from you that, geez, that hurts me too, because I'm part of a larger group as well as an individual.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So you can be, in terms of an individual aspect, do you want to be, your own person, with your own thoughts and feelings? Yes, but within the context of, let's say, US, like you said, do you want to be part of the sort of collective psyche that makes the country what it is? Just freedom of speech, tolerance, democracy, all that kind of thing. So that comes under that one bracket of some kind of collective, but it's a broader collective. It's not an ideological.
Since you said that, let me ask you something. When did the collective identity of the United States change? When did the collective identity of Britain change? It's like almost we went to bed one night. Literally, for me, I went to bed one night and woke up, and all of a sudden it was this identity that I had never grown up with. I had never been, you know what I mean, indoctrinated into or taught about. So I'm finding myself at the age I am trying to play catch up. You see what I'm saying? Trying to understand where these new ideas are coming from, because we no longer push that America is, you know what I mean, the greatest. And I'm not saying that ideology isn't flawed in and of itself, because we do terrible things. We do. And I mean, everyone knows that. I mean, that's no secret. But at the same time, as well as the UK, Australia, Canada, the Western type cultures, it breeds more individuality. It breeds more production. It breeds more, less groupthink and more, how do I say this? More spontaneity.
Yeah.
And things like that. And when did our ideology shift to become this whole, let's say, if you disagree with Black Lives Matter, you are a racist. End of story. Nobody wants to talk to you. That's it. And that's crap. It's crap for a reason, because of the fact that we want to be so open and tolerant and let you say what you want to say, but the minute somebody says something that doesn't fit the narrative, you become a social pariah. And I'm sure it's the same way in England. I mean, if you were to walk outside tomorrow, with a shirt that said "fuck ISIS," you'd be a social.
Yeah, well, I would be where I live anyway. Maybe not everywhere, but Yeah, no. When did it start? I don't know. It's difficult because I think we kind of, having talked for several years online, we kind of awoke to this at sort of similar times. You know, around about year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think I was kind of lucky in that when I went to college, which is like 17 years old in England, not the later term.
What we call high school.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, high school. I think I was just before they started maybe implementing these things, because I was in about 2009. That's when I left college and went to university, and then I picked subjects that didn't necessarily lead themselves into this direction. So I think I just got lucky and missed the indoctrination stage, and maybe that's partly where I live. You know, it's less of a sort of liberal, progressive area, just more of, you know, working class, get your work done, you know, get through school and get a job. But it seems to have infiltrated the media very, very strongly over the last sort of maybe since 2006, 7, 8, and then just steadily getting worse and worse and worse. And
I want to say around 2014 is when I started to notice it. It was
well, it's become full blown in that period, hasn't it? But
yes.
I think
Now in 2014, do you remember you would see words online like certain buzzwords, and you'd be like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's after 10. I'm sorry, US. What the fudge does that mean?
Yes, it's actually not after 10. It's 20 to 10.
Oh well.
In the real time zone. Yeah.
But I think you would see these. You and I, at least, I would see these words, and I'd be like, "What the hell does that mean?" I was white privilege. What? And then now it's at 2016, we're in a full blown, like, I mean, just in your face. This is the way that we see things. And if you disagree, you are X, Y, and Z. And I've noticed that people, being the social creatures that they are, and this is where collectivism comes into play, if you think about it, being excommunicated from a church, okay, if you're a religious person, or being excommunicated if you're Amish, or if you being shut out of whatever group that you are in, and whether your friends are not talking to you on Facebook or whatever it is, being a social pariah is worse than death.
Yeah.
So here we have the ideology of, let's say, the left, right? And they know that they've got you over a barrel in the sense that, oh, you don't want your friends to think you're a racist, do you?
Yeah.
Or you don't want your family to think that, you know, you don't care about women, do you? You don't want, you know, and all they have is an assassination of character. And I've really deeply been thinking about this since we've done our last practice run, and all they have, or all anyone has, is to assassinate one's character.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit. Come at me. Come at me, bro.
That's the problem. There's not enough people that are willing to just say, actually, you know what, I think what I think, whether it's right or wrong. You know, I've been, you know, I've changed my opinion on things loads of times. And I'll probably change him again. You know, I don't believe that I'm correct on everything.
Me either.
That's why.
That's the open mind. That is true tolerance, knowing that your ideas are just ideas. And the older you get, or the further you progress in life, your ideas will change, your thoughts will change, you'll become a more well-rounded person. You know what I mean? And you and I discussed this earlier off air, that, you know, we were talking about how you have, for example, biologically, you know, do you really have free will?
Yeah, because of the recent Sam Harris, Dave Rubin interview. That people, before they see this, they've probably already watched that. But I just thought, it's not our individual, it's not our, you know, concept. We're going off the back of Sam Harris. So, yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yes, no, it isn't our concept, but it was something that we discussed. And I feel like human beings as a whole, I mean, this is just my philosophy, we all have an internal kind of knowing. You know, You know when something's wrong. You know when something's right. You know. You don't need to be told at all.
Yeah.
And we were talking about ideologies, and we had talked about Karl Marx for a little bit, and how ideologies sometimes can come to you in a beautiful package with no grains of truth and just be totally evil, or start out as something genuinely good and be completely hijacked by something bad. And where is that balance? Where do people find that? You know what I mean? That balance as to what to filter out what is complete nonsense and what feels right in here. You know?
Yeah, no, it's, I don't know, it's, I think when we were talking about the collectivism, and what did you say earlier? It was something about becoming a social pariah. You know, it's, I feel like a lot of people know in their heart that what they're saying and the stuff they believe in is not necessarily true. I mean, do you think people really believe that we live in some kind of, let's say, for example, a rape culture? Do you think most people that advocate for that really believe that we live in a rape culture?
God, no.
You know,
I'm sorry. Let's take that for a minute. God, no. If we lived in a rape culture, don't you think that there would be chastity belt stores on the side of the frickin' road? If we really lived in a rape culture and people really believed that, there'd be chastity belt stores open 24/7. Okay. You need to get you need a jackhammer to get the bitch off. Let's stop playing.
But that's it. So it's a form of what would the word be?
Control.
Well, I'm thinking on the part of people that. So either the people that advocate for it, it's some kind of sophistry, it's snake oil. You know, it's selling an ideology based on sort of basic, obvious lies, but then it's also the people that attempting or pretending to sympathise are either they just, you know, they want to sleep with a girlfriend that's a feminist, or they want people to, or they want a girlfriend, or that, you know, they're just trying to show the world that they're a tolerant, progressive person.
Tolerant, progressive of and you don't have to be is the thing. You don't have to be. Anybody, you as in collective you, okay? Anybody can be whomever they choose to be. And the most fundamental right that a person has is the right to be wrong.
Yeah.
The right to choose to do something, have it be wrong, and then learn from their mistakes, and then grow on and do, because we all know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But through being wrong and you actually learning, you're taking away that right from yourself, in my opinion. You're taking away your basic own right. You yourself are doing that because, I don't want, you know, Mr. Pete, my neighbor, to think that I'm a racist, a flaming racist, or a flaming this or flaming that. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I am me at all costs, and I will be me at all costs. But at the same time, collectivism and my individuality can't get in the way of the fact and caring about my fellow man.
Yeah.
That becomes egomaniacal. That becomes narcissism. That becomes everything decadence and everything that, you know, causes issues.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I think the only way we can maybe progress and get new ideas as well, because I mean, are we just going to settle on this? This is the best. This is, you know, this is our best ideas ever. So everyone agree. We're going to agree, and then, you know, keep telling everyone the same things that we've already learned, and, you know, that's it. But that's it. If you're a collectivist, you know, this is how we do it. Whereas if you're an individual, you might actually invent a new form of, you know, democratic election or government, or, you know, just something else, some other kind of idea that might improve society if you don't just automatically follow the way that people want you to go. You know, you can't improve society if everyone believes the same thing and doesn't deviate ever.
What kind of society is that? We know what kind of society that is.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it throughout history, but one would argue, wouldn't you think? Let's bring it back around to Karl Marx, just his ideology. That was an individual. To write the Communist Manifesto in 1884, or excuse me, I'm dyslexic, 1848. To write this in 1848 makes you an individual. That made him an individual. And we went over this earlier. Some of the grains of truth are correct. Some of them are incorrect. However, it doesn't end well.
Yeah.
They seem to take what happens is we take the first couple sentences that are very like inspiring and power to the people, and the last two sentences, and the only thing you have to lose is your chains and gain your freedom, right? But we forget all the middle mumbo jumbo that is not correct.
Yeah,
that is written by a madman.
Yeah.
I would argue that he was an individual. I would.
Well, that's it. That's the thing. It's maybe whoever wrote that, like we said with Karl Marx, he's not necessarily a communist, but Karl Marx probably thinks, pros, bourgeoisie, that whole thing, or what did you want me to say? Proletariat. The bourgeoisie.
Darling, I wanted you to say the bourgeois.
Yeah, the bourgeois.
The bourgeois.
You're better at English accents than I am.
Isn't that funny? You're English.
Yeah. But like we said, he, as an individual, decided he believed that this may be the best sort of route to go. And the thing is, it had never been put into practice, and maybe hasn't yet. I'm not sure. Is Marxism ever been a government?
Really
Probably not.
No, I don't think Marxism has really ever been put into practice. It always turns into
There's certain similarities to communism, but that's it. In his head, he probably thinks, right, okay, so spread out the money between the rich and the poor and make everyone a little bit more equal. Sounds good, doesn't it? But,
absolutely.
But it's like he didn't think it through properly. It's like he had a dream that was good, and then left it at that. You didn't think, right, let's analyse this a little bit. Let's think about what ramifications this might have for society. It's going to prevent people from, pushing themselves. It's going to prevent ingenuity. It's going to stifle
making people dependent.
Yeah, and just basically making everybody worse rather than
lifting everyone up.
Yeah, it's like, what was it? Someone, communism. You'd like your society to go like that. And it was Margaret Thatcher, I think, on her last speech. She was talking about socialism, and she said, what she wants to do is this. So the top goes up, but that goes up as well. Where socialism is that,
She also said socialism works until you run out of someone else's money.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that to be a brilliant thing to say.
That speech she did, her last speech was really good. I think I sent it to you.
Yeah.
At the time, I think it was the day of the Brexit thing, or the morning after, or whatever. But yeah.
For me though, I wanted to get into BLM a little bit, and we will in a minute. But for me, let's stay with the Karl Marx, because the greatest thing I think I've ever done, and this now I'm talking more to my U.S. countrymen, the greatest thing you can ever do, as embarrassing as it is to buy that book. Read it. It took me 45 minutes on my lunch break to read it cover to cover. Now, some people are slower readers, some people are fast readers, some people have different levels of understanding, but read it. Read it and understand it. And then read it and understand, and now watch newscasts. And now see where Obama comes from. And this I'm saying to my countrymen, because I can see for a constitutional lawyer, to become president, which, fine by me, whatever. I would prefer maybe a doctor or somebody. I don't think we need any more lawyers on the planet at all. I think we got enough. Okay, there's a lawyer for everything. But to have have read this and understand what he's talking about is the proletariat class becoming so upset with the bourgeois, darling, and coming to a point where we end up fighting with each other, to where the government comes in and just says, right, well, okay, since you guys can't get along, nobody gets anything. And it's the smartest thing, because after reading that, the way I see things has flipped on its head. I see a slow communism being enacted in my country. I see it, you know what I mean? I see the working man at my own job, in my own life, you know? I see people I love on a day-to-day basis working virtually slave labor. You yourself working under lights, you know, not being paid, not being compensated. And all of that is a valid grievance. Valid grievance. And where you and I have asked each other many times, where does the money go? It's either extreme corporate greed. It's like it goes into a black hole, because you know the company makes money hand over fist.
Yeah.
Right. So, but what I see is the slow infiltration of communism being packaged in a way that makes it sexy and cool and makes it so that we accept it. Because if Obama walked out of the White House tomorrow and said, right, well, we're all communists now, do you know what would happen? Like, no, we're not. No, we're not, dude. No.
Yeah.
So you have to change it. You have to change the word to make it more palatable to the American palate so that we accept it, instead of rejecting the ideology. And it was something that you had said, that a collective friend of ours has said, that likes to say his rallying cry, McCarthy's dead, McCarthy's dead. Use communism correctly. McCarthy might be dead, brother, but Karl Marx's ideology is not. Not at all. It's alive and well and working in our government. And that's the scary part for me. Because at this point, I don't see how bullet point 10, which seems to be everybody's rallying cry under 30, free college, they say it right here, free college, bullet point 10.
I just love the use of the word free. Like,
oh my God, I'll show you. I will show you.
I know, I've seen it.
They use free college for everyone, but then they use two words that are very important right after that. Etc., etc., etc. It doesn't mean you're going to go to school to learn to be a doctor. It doesn't mean you're going to go to school to learn to be a lawyer or an astronaut or an astrophysicist. It means you're going to learn to go to school and believe whatever the state tells you. Learn how to build a damn railroad. That's what you're going to learn. Okay? For free, though. But for free.
Yes, for free. And also increase taxes. That's what they also
Absolutely.
say. That's bullet point. Is that before or after? You probably put a few between that, wouldn't you? So hopefully people forgot by the time it gets.
No, actually, it's the last one, and it's point 10, free college.
Right.
The last one, and that seems to be the rallying cry that I keep hearing. Well, dude, if you haven't read that, you might wanna, because socialism and communism walk a very fine line next to each other. Very fine line, and it couldn't. Like I said, I'm playing catch up because I've never been indoctrinated. You missed the indoctrination by the skin of your teeth. I've never had it. So the free-thinking people, I can see straight up. Yes, you are making everyone mad at each other. Yes, we are, like the Panama Papers. Where'd they go? Nothing. They were just there to make everybody mad that there are, X amount of people richer than us, right? Gone, out of the news. Okay? So... You see what I'm? Do you picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah.
All the climate is there for bringing in communism. It's all there. People not making enough money, people not being able to support their family, finding out people are riding around on mega yachts with hookers, doing cocaine, blowing each other with oil, doing what sexy people do. Okay. And while I'm sitting here at a factory breaking my back, or sitting at a party store breaking my back, right? All that climate is there, but I don't want this. I do not accept this. I reject this, because it does not promote good ideas. It does not promote spontaneity, ingenuity, anything.
Yeah.
And you live in a country where it's socialism is more like you have more of a little bit socialistic system than we do.
Yeah. Well, what was I going to say? It's my thing, and I think we kind of disagree here, is that I don't believe that Obama or many people within the American government are actually communists. I just think they understand that socialism, communism, those kind of things help them to profit off, the citizenry, and just make it easier for them to pass the legislation, pass the laws, and just keep getting elected and whatnot. I don't think that they actually believe in the ideology quite so much, and I don't think they believe the people do either. So, like you said, it's a matter of changing the terms and making it a bit more palatable, and just sort of creating a new kind of, maybe you wouldn't call it communism, maybe you call it something else.
I actually have a theory. I think it's called globalism.
Yeah, well,
because communism only works if you either have 200 people, a small commune of people, or the whole fucking world.
Yeah.
The whole world. Everybody in the world poor and, or whatever, at the same level. And then we know them. I personally believe the worst form of injustice is making two things which are not equal. We're all created equally. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. But we are not all gifted equally. Not at all. And if my gift is different from the man down the roads, God bless him and he can go make money at him, go do it. And if it helps mankind along the way, then you've done your part. You've done your part. And I begrudge you not. But that climate, I feel like, is there. I feel like it's being shoved in our face. You know what I mean? And that's just me. And that's just the way I see it in the United States. But
yeah. Well, do you want to talk about BLM then?
Yeah. This is easy. Now, yes, we can go into BLM. Shall we start? Which do you want to start with? Do we want to start with the retaliation shootings in Baton Rouge, or shall we start with the firebombing of a police car in Florida with a note attached to it that says "Black Lives Matter"?
Right.
They threw a Molotov cocktail.
When did that happen?
Police car. In Florida. In Florida, they threw a Molotov cocktail through an empty police car, and then went and stuck a Black Lives Matter note on the wreckage.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And then we shot three more cops in Baton Rouge in response to Alton Sterling.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't sound very good, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Sounds like a terrorist group.
Thank you.
No. Well, I don't know.
You call them ISIS or Black Lives Matter, it sounds like they're doing the same freaking shit.
Well, I mean, I'm a little bit wary with that, only because I think there's an element where it's not necessarily, you can't necessarily blame the movement for all of these things that happen. I think there's a little bit of subtlety that you need to have. The ideologies that we'll probably discuss, we don't like them. We disagree with the way that they talk about things in general and things they don't talk about. But to necessarily blame them directly for somebody going out killing people, unless they say they're doing it in the name of, like maybe an Islamic terrorist would do, unless they specifically say it, I think it's hard to just blame them directly. It's more of a ripple.
Well, here's what I find interesting. Seems to me both people that killed the cops were both ex-military, okay? Both black men, both wanted to cause destruction. One wanted to kill as many white people as he could, claimed no association with Black Lives Matter, and the other man just wanted to stand up for whatever the hell he thought he was standing up for, and thus killed a black police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I thought Black Lives mattered, bro. Like,
well, that's it. Yeah.
When you not shoot the black cop? When you aim for a white cop, it's Black Lives Matter. It's getting to the point where nobody matters. You just want to shoot your gun like an asshole. Yeah. Because you have a chip on your shoulder. Yeah. For whatever reason.
Yeah,
whatever reason.
That's why I think it's difficult. I wouldn't, when we discussed like the Dallas shootings and Baton Rouge, I'd maybe take it a little bit away from directly Black Lives Matter, more of it being within the broader context of the movement and people associated with it, and how the movement might have influenced certain thoughts in someone's brain, as opposed to, right, okay, so I'm a Black Lives Matter supporter. In response, I'm going to go out and shoot some police officers. I don't think that's exactly how it happened. Probably not. I don't know. Maybe.
But I wonder, though, does it make you wonder when you see things like, okay, the guy who drove his truck into all 84 people on Bastille Day, he's taking selfies of himself in the truck, like, 20 minutes before. Here's me before I go on my jihad, bitches. Like, really? Really? What is it? What are you thinking in your head? So, like, the same thing with the other guy. He took his picture, like, and posted it on Facebook. It's like they're doing this in order, not even because they actually believe in the ideology that sucks, or that is evil, or that is wrong. It's doing it for 15 minutes of fame, almost, it seems. In my opinion. It's getting to the point where you don't give a shit. You don't stand for anything. You couldn't get famous doing, whatever it was. Your album didn't sell. You couldn't paint. Your story sucked. Whatever. You didn't invent a jetpack that was going to take us to the moon.
We should get on that. Yeah. We should get on that. That's a good idea.
With the jetpack,
Yeah,
I've been thinking about that. You gotta have the flames go out the back and not like burning the back of your legs.
Yeah, but then you'd have to lie backwards and go up that way. It wouldn't work.
We all know jetpacks are the superior way to ride.
Yeah.
But for me, it's getting to a point where it's like, okay, you're just doing it for attention. Did your mama not love you enough? Did somebody not love you enough?
Yeah, that's why.
What happened?
I mean, a lot of it, I think that there's always a distinction between, so if a jihadist says, Allahu Akbar, or phones the cops and say he's, supports ISIS and this and that, then it's fair to say the guy was a radical Islamic extremist.
Absolutely.
If somebody is wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, walks up to a cop, shoots him, and then screams Black Lives Matter, something like that, yeah, he's a Black Lives Matter supporter. But I think there's an element of it where it has become kind of celebrity. It's become a kind of reality TV show at this point.
Absolutely, especially with the live streaming of it on Facebook. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
So that's why I personally like to, when we get on to actually discussing Black Lives Matter, I prefer to talk about them aside from the violence, because there's enough to talk to about the movement and the ideology in and of itself than the actual killings that are maybe associated. In the same way that when we talk about, if we ever talk about Islam, I'd like to do a show discussing what's actually maybe in the Quran and in the Hadith, as opposed to just saying, right, well, some jihadis blew up a mosque somewhere. Because that's everyone's seen that, everyone knows that, that's terrible. But what's more important is the actual ideology itself.
And I was laying in bed thinking last night, I was thinking about, since we're on Islam, we might as well just continue. I was laying in bed thinking, one of the most beautiful sounds I've ever heard is the mosque going off at 5 a.m. And they go off over these air raid sirens, okay, all over the city. And you hear the same thing, Allahu Akbar, which means God is great, God is good, and everyone gets up and everyone prays. And the reason you don't see anything else is because everyone's Muslim.
Yeah.
You're not going to see somebody drive a truck through your house, because we're all up praying to Allah. That has become the collectivist mind through religion. Yeah. We are all the same through this. And I was laying in bed wondering, gee, why did I not see that the barbaric things? Why did I not see at that time when I lived in an Arab country? Did I not see the barbarism or the injustice or the complete and utter just hate? Because you're not meant to when everybody's Islamic. Yeah. When everybody's Islamic, you're at a peacetime. But you don't believe, I don't believe, I've said the words in order to talk to people, because they won't talk to you without saying Allah Akbar, Washhadu an Allah in Allah in Allah, Washhadu an Muhammad Rasulullah. They won't talk to you. You know what I mean? But all that means is it makes me safe. You're not gonna hurt me because I can say that in Arabic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, for years, I was very blinded and very, Islam, religion of peace, don't talk shit about that. But how many times are you going to sit back and watch people do stuff that is just insane? And either credit Allah, credit ISIS, credit Al Qaeda, Mujahideen, whoever the fuck they want to credit. How many times are you going to sit back and say that and have it not be true?
Yeah.
It's eventually true. You call Whitney Houston a crackhead 97 times, and we know the bitch smoked crack, okay? She done smoked her kneecaps off. Like, it's true. At a certain point, it becomes true, no matter how much you don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
And why don't people want to admit that they are wrong? Why? There is no shame in saying, you know what? Hey, maybe we should slow down all these friggin' refugees coming into every country, flooding every country, and we don't know anything about them. Maybe there's nothing racist in saying that. Nothing. Because you're leaving somewhere, obviously, you ain't leaving if you're getting, great medical care, good schooling, a good job, you have a national identity. You're not going to leave there. You have your family there. You won't leave and immigrate somewhere else. You'd stay right where the fuck you were at. You think? I mean, so I don't see what the harm is in people admitting to being wrong. And that seems to be the problem, is ego. As well as, who's paying who and who's kissing each other's ass where and when and doing whatever. Stuff that us little proletariats have nothing to do with going. But I'm serious. What's the harm in admitting, Jesus Christ, okay, these people are a little bit more violent than Christians.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, but you can't forget the Crusades.
Oh, come on!
It's not been enough time to forget.
It's too
soon.
Please stop bringing that up. You're triggering me. Yeah, it's triggered into it like some kind of psycho feminist right now.
I don't know. But yeah, people don't like admitting when they're wrong because I think what's happened now, we talk about the idea of collectivism. What happens now is, like you mentioned, feminism. People will put feminist in their Twitter profiles. It becomes part of their identity as human beings, what they believe, as opposed to, level 1, first class degree in economics, father, mother, friend. It's feminist, anti-Trump, or if you go to a right winger, something similar, neocon, whatever.
How sad is that? That is very sad. That's part of your identity. You're a feminist? No, part of your identity is you're a woman. Part of your identity is that you wouldn't even know real feminism if it slapped you in the face because you're too busy bitching about better looking women than you. Straight up. Straight up. You treat women worse than men treat us. And that was a side tangent, but we're gonna go with it. Honestly, I mean, when did that become a badge of honor? I'm this. Instead of being like, you know what, I'm a person. I make mistakes. I have a good heart. I love people. I care for people. And I think a lot of these movements, like I told you earlier, they prey on the altruism that is inherent in the human being by nature.
Yeah.
Whether it's being biologically, whether that's, God or whatever. We all have it in us. All of us. It's the internal knowing. We all know. We know the right and wrong. We know the difference in what not to do and what to do, and we know when to do it and when not to do it.
Yeah.
It's built in you. So why are you giving yourself a false identity? A false identity. Instead of saying, I would often like to ask these people who put, occupation or, I am feminist, anti-Trump, I am this. Why don't you ask them? I mean, I would love to sit down in a room with them and say, well, what do you actually like? You
Yeah.
personally.
Well, that's it. That's part
You.
of, that's the collectivist individual. It's,
Yeah.
you know, I may say I'm anti-feminist. I may say I'm not a massive fan of Black Lives Matter. I might call myself a libertarian, or at least a cultural libertarian, which is less to do with economics and more to do with just free speech and things like that. But if someone asks me, you know, I'd like to think that I've got more opinions on a variety of things. I've got more of a personality in general. Beyond that, it's not, my life is not dedicated to that. I don't want to present myself to people as that and just that.
That's how you become a zealot.
You know, yeah.
That's how you become a zealot. You so focus in on one ideology and cannot accept the fact that that ideology might not be right.
Well, that's it. If it's wrong, then
you're willing to go to the fire.
I'll have to change my Twitter bio. Ooh, I don't have to. I'll have to think of a new cool one. But that's it. Yeah. No. What your world crumbles when something that it's not just an opinion, is it? At that point, it's not just
no.
Oh, you know, I might be wrong about abortion. Maybe I'm a bit more. Maybe I'd be a bit more strict on it then. Maybe 3 years ago I'd be like, yeah, abortions, whatever. But no, changed my opinion. I'm a little bit more strict on the matter. But because my life wasn't dependent on being a pro-abortion activist, it's a little bit easier to just say, right, you know what, I've changed my opinion. It's not an integral part of my personal character.
Sure.
So I can just move on.
It's not so deeply ingrained in you that you can't change it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. I mean, I have gone through so many different, and human beings are meant to go through phases, I would think. You're meant to grow. That's how you blossom and become the best you that you can be.
Yeah.
But when you hold on to an ideology and you cannot admit that you are wrong, you will never grow. You will never grow up.
Mm-hmm.
You will always continue to make the same mistakes. And unfortunately, we have people in both of our countries that are in power that refuse to admit that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Which is the problem. I don't necessarily think it's the government as a whole, maybe in my country, you know what I mean? But there are a few people that are refusing to admit that their ideology or their ideas are wrong and willing to take everyone else down with them. And that's not okay. That's not okay with me as an individual.
Yeah, well, in England you can have a referendum vote and then, you know, have another referendum, or let's referendum the referendum because it didn't go my way, and I cannot conceivably cope with the reality of the world, so we need to do it all over again because somehow the vote would swing. I don't know if it did it overnight, it would just go from there to there. If anything, it would go from there to there. It would go more, you know. But yeah, no, that's it. It's just so damaging to people to have to admit that maybe they were slightly wrong. And also, it's not just damaging to them, but it's the fear of all their friends that maybe they were introduced to feminism. Let's say I know we're supposed to talk about Black Lives Matter, but let's say if
to me, this whole conversation encompasses collectivism.
Well, yeah.
So you go where the conversation goes, I'll go with you, baby.
Yeah. Well, so let's say your friends feminists, they introduce you to feminism. You go over there, you know, you look at it and you think, yeah, you know, this all kind of makes sense to me, blah blah blah. But then maybe you watch a YouTube video or you hear a talk from someone like Christina Hoff Sommers and she kind of debunks feminism or whatever, and you think, oh wait, I think I was wrong there. Can you go and talk to your friends that a large part of your friendship was based on the fact that you were feminists as opposed to nice people who enjoyed each other's company? Can you... So that sort of social stigma is what I think keeps people in... And you can apply that to Black Lives Matter.
Absolutely. You can apply it to any group. Islam, anything.
Yeah. So
anything.
You stick with it.
Psychology.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... Yeah.
To be honest with you, in my opinion, if they are your friends, I would rather hear from you. You know what, Ross? I was wrong on this. I was wrong. I would respect you more if you say to me, you formerly were a Klansman. Let's go since you're so beautifully Englishly pale. We're gonna go with you being a Klansman hypothetically.
I was gonna wear the clan outfit, but I spilled some wine on it.
Oh, well, you're gonna have to send that to the cleaners.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna have to. The only people that can get that out is the Asians. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the Asians in my country are different to the ones in yours. Yeah. No, they're Muslims.
Oh.
So you were thinking Koreans and Japanese. No, we'll come back smelling like curry, like we, you know. You can't get it out. Just come back more stained.
Just the stain came back for a bowl.
Yeah, it just had wine on it, and now it's come back. It's got curry on it, and I know it's just I can't go to any Ku Klux. I can't go to any Klan parties anymore.
Absolutely not looking a mess.
No, not with
Clorox bleach pen.
No, I could say. Well, no, I won't go there. I was gonna go somewhere quite dark. We'll not do it. No.
Now we're getting out there in the ether.
No.
No, but to me, honestly, it would mean more to me on an individual level, person to person, human to human. If you were to say, Rox, you know what? I was wrong about being a Klansman. I was wrong. You know? I had some things that they got me at a time in my life where these ideologies sounded good to me. And I went with it. And then as they changed, as their movement changed, I changed. Yeah. And we ended up separating ways. And that happens with friendships too. And unfortunately, a real friend will look at you and say, you know what, man, regardless of what you think, we're still tight. Yeah. Regardless of what you think. But the social stigma and fear, which is just false emotion that appears real. That's all fear is. That's it. All you have is this fear of losing something that doesn't even exist in the first place. Yeah. An ideology isn't a physical thing that one can hold, you know. You can run around with the Communist Manifesto in your hand and, you know, bumping Karl Marx's ideology, but the ideology itself is not tangible. Yeah. You know? So a true friend would say, hey, you know, you do you, boo-boo. I'm going to do me. And I appreciate that you're able to recognize when you're wrong, you know? And why are people so afraid to say that? Why? I'm not afraid of that. Assassination of character is the only thing that anyone can do to you unless they are at your house knocking like the secret police and, you know, trying to black bag you. I mean, other than that, that's the only thing that they can do to you. That's it. And so what? Yell it from the mountaintops. Who cares? Because I would trust an honest person that says, yeah, I used to do this. I used to be a Klansman. I used to do that. I used to do a whole litany of terrible things. But I'm different now. I would trust somebody like that than someone that would rather lie to me all day long to my face. Yeah. And not admit that they're wrong. Yeah. And I think I would like to believe that every human being is like that. You know?
I don't think that's the case, unfortunately.
It's not. No. It's not you, but you'd rather be lied to? If you pose the question this way, would you rather me tell you the truth or lie to you?
Depends what we're talking about. But yeah, no. Obviously, you want people to be truthful. And I think another part of it as well is how I think it's not just about being truthful, it's the fear that if you're truthful to somebody that they wouldn't accept it or they'd reject it or
fear of rejection.
You know, anything like that.
Fear of rejection.
But well, it's like we said at the top. There's a difference between a general social collectivism and then the individual collectivism of thoughts and ideas. I'd rather be somebody that maybe lose a friend or two here or there, but true to themselves and open to new things than just have a basically meaningless, empty sort of existence with no real sort of connection to people beyond we're all Black Lives Matter activists, we all, go to rallies.
We're all communists, we're all Marxists, we're all Islamic.
Yeah, I'd rather
Absolutely.
have,
Absolutely.
I don't know, I just feel like those kind of movements and ideology just kind of breeds more of the same kind of people.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in a world where most people are the same.
Absolutely not. If we were born originals, why would we die copies?
Yeah.
Why? The death of individuality, of personal identity and personal individuality, to me is worse to me than being a social pariah.
Yeah.
I will walk alone all day long, and it'll be a long, lonely road, and I'm prepared for that. And I'm prepared to be laughed at, and I'm prepared to have people call me crazy, whatever. But to be honest with you, at least to mine own self, I am being true.
Yeah.
You feel me? That is worse than being a social pariah.
Yeah.
That is worse to me. And I would think there were more people, hopefully, like us,
But
than there are
I think that's it.
people that huddle like sheep.
Well, as we've seen with, let's say, the Brexit, we all know that it wasn't just about racism and anti-immigration. It was also it did have other factors towards it. It was against there was people that understand that the EU is not necessarily the greatest thing, and it's not the European Union within itself is not going in its attempts to sort of collectivise all of us. It was a rejection against that. Maybe about 30-40% of people that voted to leave thought that, but that's a lot of people. It's not just a 5% here and there. They're just those kind of people are less vocal. It feels like, and you get YouTubers that do it, but I think in your day-to-day life, I think you're going to find more people that agree with the kind of things that we're saying. You're going to find more than you'd maybe expect.
I say whatever to whomever, whenever, when passing, and I have found, honest to God, I have found from 60-year-old white ladies to friggin', homeless people that don't. I have found that they all share this. What the heck? Why are you pushing this on me? Whatever it is, whatever the topic is, I find they do agree more with us. That yes, I would rather be an individual. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's all in how you word it.
Yeah.
Like I said, they couldn't, for at least in the United States, they couldn't come out and call it full-blown communism because we'd all say, no, you suck.
Yeah.
Get out. Get out of the house that you rent from us. Bye-bye.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So they have to call it something else. And I think you are right in saying that maybe Obama isn't in his heart a commie, but he knows how to use the system to make himself wealthier, therefore thus becoming what communism always becomes, a dictatorship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but more people do feel, yeah, I would hope that. I would hope that. And I would hope people are smart enough to know that if you've got to lose a few friends in the process, then they weren't really your friends in the first place.
Yeah.
If they can't tolerate you being able to say either, yes, I'm a jackass and I'm wrong, or this is the way I'm going right now. You can like it or lump it.
Yeah.
But you will let me be me as I let you exist. You know? All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, we thank you for joining us for our first ever episode of Insomnia. We are Insomniacs. I am your host, R to the O to the X to the Y. Thank you for listening. And my dapper and wonderfully handsome co-host, Clancy, we thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful evening, ladies and gentlemen. And if you can't sleep, feel free to play it on loop.